School's back. Welcome to class. Now, in a previous lesson, I had learned you all on the horrors of the job market, especially for young people. And if the job market is the inescapable hell that will make sure you never know peace in your adult life, then the unceasing march of time is the inescapable hell that will make sure you never know peace, period. You know, until you die. But then again, on the other hand, is getting older really hell? How come everywhere I look on social media, I just see Zoomer after Zoomer obsessed with the idea that our lives are basically over now that they've turned 23 or whatever. I know that 26 is fairly young still, but in a much realer sense, I know that 26 is basically 1 foot in the grave, which is one of the dumber things I've seen on the internet, but it's a sentiment shared so often that it's like spawned its own meme subculture. Your life is over at age 10. If you're 11 years old, you're a chopped unk. Yeah, if you're 12 years old, TikTok grandma, it's basically over for you. And who could forget that banger all-time Leonardo DiCaprio classic, always ready to go for a 25th birthday party. But today, I really want to take a look under the hood of Gen Z's obsession with age and aging, because I think there is a fascinating melange of insecurity there. All these memes and jokes are a response to something that is definitely real, and definitely worth 20 or so minutes of your time to talk about.
Things are going so good. What? 25 is young! What's a labubu? Just cause I have my frontal lobe doesn't mean I can't binge drink. Is that like Dua Lipa? I need to get my own health insurance. 6'7"? I thought 69 was the funny number. Let's rip the cart and listen to Young Thug calling me owned. Do you still play Fortnite? I woke up and my back hurt. Font size is 90. I saw a video of a dog save an elephant from a fire. What do you mean it's AI? We're bombing the Middle East. Again?
Yeah, it's rough out here. But before we get into all that, let me tell you a little bit about something that's been warming my heart this spooky season. And that's Love and Pies. Love and Pies is a free-to-download casual mobile game that provides a cozy, fun, and compelling story. And here's the premise, okay? Imagine your mom's cafe has burned down under mysterious circumstances, and now it's up to you to rebuild and find out the secrets of what went down. And as you bake treats, serve customers, and renovate the place to be the cafe of your dreams, your high school sweetheart's gonna show up to add a little touch of spice to the drama. And who doesn't love an added touch of spice to the drama? The gameplay is super fun. Your goal is to match fitting ingredients to each other to bake pies or other baked goods, which you then serve to your customers. The tips you earn in turn help finance your decorations and upgrades to the cafe, so you can really make it your own, which is my favorite part of the game by far. I love games with customization. Getting to personalize and upgrade different areas of the cafe as you progress was a really fun aspect for me. Love and Pies, guys, is just something great to unwind with at the end of the day, or for me, just something to take a break with throughout the day, which I often need. And right now is the best time to get started, because there are 2 limited time events coming to the game this month: Betty's Autumn Drinks and Cozy Crafts, and Phantom Pass. And you better believe I'm getting my hands on those limited time Halloween decorations for my cafe, because I'm all about that customization, and if it's limited edition customization, I'm even more down. And once those rewards are gone, they're gone. So don't wait, download using my link, and reach day 3 within the next week, and you'll get a sweet treat: 200 energy and 50 gems. Thanks again to Love and Pies for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to it. Probably the easiest way to start this video is by looking at the pushing 30 panic. Or really, the pushing 30 pandemic that I think of it, because this thing is everywhere. If you are someone who even looks like you're approaching the age of 24 or 25 on TikTok, and you say something that people don't like or something immature, get ready for a wall of comments that just say, "Pushing 30, by the way."
I hate when I hear people say, she's pushing 30, she's pushing 30. You could be pushing death, and you don't even know. You could have an illness that'll kill you next year.
It's just a very odd insult to make, pushing 30, and a deeply hurtful one at that, because what can you really say back?
You have a little bit of fun, you make a couple of jokes, you're pushing 30. Shush, shut up. That's how it makes me feel. I hate that phrase. I hate that phrase so much. Literally, bit of fun, you're pushing 30. You're watching your anime, you're pushing 30. You have a debate with someone, you're pushing 30. The moment someone drops you pushing 30, there's no coming back. You've lost.
Now look, I get this if you're a child. I remember being 15 and looking at my 20-year-old brother and being like, damn, that's gotta be awesome. He's a fully grown adult. 20 years old, I mean, he's basically middle-aged. That's a fully grown man who's got his entire life figured out, and I am but a lowly teenager. And then lo and behold, I turned 20 and realized 20-year-olds also don't know what the is going on. But again, as we've learned from the internet, by the time you turn 24, you're basically 30. So if you're still figuring your life out at 24, that means you're still figuring your life out at 30. And at 30, your life is basically over.
Who's pushing 30? Okay, because I'm 24 years old. Don't let the businesses and the lifestyle fool you. I'm still a spring chicken. There may be a little receding in the hairline too, but that's stress. 30. Sorry, wrong page.
Okay, first of all, we see the condo skyline, bro. Trust me, we get it. You have crazy motion, aura, you're getting paper like no one else has ever seen. But since all those things are true, why are you taking to heart that people are commenting on your stuff saying pushing 30? Like, 30 is really young, okay? If 24 is a spring chicken, what is 30? A summer chicken? And that's why this is fascinating, because it's not just hate comments saying LOL pushing 30. It's people taking it to heart. People going like, oh, I am pushing 30. Or even better, going, no, I'm not 30. I'm 28. It's just this hilarious position of people getting mad at people saying you're pushing 30 by arguing that 24 is basically a teenager. And it's like, if 24 is a teenager, then 30 is not far off from teenager, which it's not. Like, literally, 24 is equidistant from 18 than it is to 30. That's just math. I know numbers. I have the best numbers. And this is really the dynamic that the whole pushing 30 thing is about, I think. Because I've talked about body image issues before and like the physical aspects of like anti-aging culture, like, you know, the ridiculous skincare, etc., etc. But that's not what this is. This isn't about the pressures of social media, especially on women, to just like never age. I get all that. That is like a completely separate, different video. Trust me, Gen Z also wants to avoid the physical aspects of aging also. But this is also about the psychological aspect of it.
And they're talking to me like I'm big sis, big sis. Meanwhile, I'm 24 years old. I've only lived an extra fall, winter, summer, spring than this person. I don't think I was really studying up during that time. I think I was like drinking a bottle. Like, what are you talking about? I'm not some wise old woman, girl. I'm a year older than you. And then the other day I was at the bar and these girls, they're like, oh, we love your makeup. And I was like, thank you. And they're like, guess how old we are? And I was like, how old? They're like, 27. We're old. I'm like, what are you talking about? What is happening? The delusions, like, you guys are fucking...
Gen Z just appears to have a horrible psychological relationship with the concept of aging. And I get that, because I think Gen Z is a generation that feels perpetually behind in life, perpetually anxious about the future, afraid of growing up, even as we remain, in absolute terms, literally the youngest group of adults around. And it appears to me that this weird state of being for Gen Z can be traced back to two unique experiences. The first of which is a perceived failure to launch. There's no way around it. I mean, the average Zoomer either graduated high school or college in the middle of a pandemic. I sure as know I got my cap and gown in the mail. Yeah. Thank you, George Washington University. I will totally put this on to watch my graduation happen on a fucking YouTube live stream. And look, in some ways I feel lucky. We still don't know what like the long-term effects of the lockdowns and online schooling will be for like really young kids. But we do know what the effects are for Gen Z, which was basically just skyrocketing depression and difficulty finding work, which paired with an economy that's on the brink of collapse, student debt, criminally expensive housing, and there's just a whole cohort of like 21 to 25-year-olds, whatever, something in there, that just got f***ed. And before I get a million comments like in the last video, I'm not saying we're the only generation to have it rough. I get it. If you're a millennial who graduated college in like 2009, you know, I'm sure you could regale us with tales of how incredible that time period was. I'm sure there were boundless joys to being a college graduate class of 2008. But my point is, again, that the psychology is different. At least at that time, there was like, you know, a belief that things could get better.
We still had some hope because my president is black, my Lambo's blue. Like, that was the vibes, even though the recession was looking a little shaky. Government programs weren't being cut. Federal workers were still largely safe. It feels vastly different. While as an elder millennial, I've been through a couple of these recessions, I'ma just be honest, babes, I don't think any of us, other than our grandparents who went through the Great Recession, have any idea of what this is about to feel like.
The overwhelming state of mind for Gen Z is just doom. And I'm not a doomer, but a ton of you are. Okay, let's be honest. There is part of this that a large cohort of Zoomers It's not that they don't want change, they just don't even believe change is possible. Like, not to rehash this example, but if you graduated college in 2009, and your prospects were not great, people went to law school, or they started a business, or they did something else. They wrote it out in some way. There are some Zoomers now that if you talk to them and like, oh yeah, bro, I could go to law school. So I could make a little bit more money, have a little more student debt in 3 years, and watch the world burn from my mother's basement on a slightly nicer TV. And it's like, bro. And that's a completely different psychology than what we've seen in the past. Things are bad right now is a different feeling than things are bad, period. It's way worse.
Now that we can all talk to each other like this, it feels like we're all realizing we're getting scammed. And I know what you think, well, what do you mean? Like, what's a scam? Just like everything, just like points broadly at everything in life. It's like you go to college and it's like, that's a pyramid scheme. I know pyramid schemes, that is a pyramid scheme. Okay, and then you go to work and they're just like, okay, not only do I feel like I'm getting scammed here, but I also feel like I'm scamming people. Like, now I'm like a part of the scam.
Well, I don't have a ton of counter arguments to that, but I think this segues nice into the second part of this, which is even as COVID and economic realities have like pushed back traditional milestones for younger people, social media has made it seem like the inverse is true. Like, just graduating college, getting married, and buying a house is pretty impressive as it is, and yet on my feed is just wall-to-wall teenage millionaires and grifters and influencers making millions doing seemingly f***ing nothing.
What's the weirdest part of your routine as an 18-year-old millionaire?
I don't have energy drinks. I don't use any stimulants. All I do, I just chew gum, bro.
Gum?
Yeah, this gum. You tried this gum? I go through like 4 or 5 boxes of this stuff in my studio. It's got caffeine, L-theanine. It enhances your focus, your brain's ability to form sentences, all that kind of stuff too,
Like, bro, you just gotta chew gum, bro. Like, trust me, bro. It's about chewing gum.
What's the weirdest part of your routine as an 18-year-old millionaire?
I don't have energy drinks. I don't use any stimulants. All I do is have this. You try this? Boom, boom.
Oh my god.
I don't hear you sniffling anymore.
Yeah, I think this fixed it.
Okay, well, is the secret gum or is it smelling salts? Because now I'm confused. And for the 800th time in a row, we need a 3,000% tariff on podcast equipment. But truly, our brains were not meant to be exposed to this level of obscene wealth 24/7. Whether you're a dude watching your favorite streamer rolling around in obscene luxury, or like an influencer doing a brand trip to some Tuscan villa, you cannot open social media without just seeing tons of people your age or younger seemingly doing better than you.
This is what happens like psychologically when you start making a lot of money at a young age. I mean, like 10, 20, 30K months at 18, 19, 20. I think the first thing that happens when you hit your first like 10K month is you realize 10K is not a lot of money to make in a month whatsoever. You probably put it on your vision board and just idolize that number for a while. And then when you hit it, you're like, wow, okay, this was kind of hard to do, but it's not a lot of money. Like, this is not much at all. You quickly get like desensitized to money in the sense that you'll start hitting higher months, but it doesn't really feel different whatsoever unless it's like substantially a larger amount. And then the way you look at spending money changes a lot too. You don't even think about spending $100. It's just so almost meaningless, like whatever, like just take my money. You very quickly just start to like lose concept of the value of money. Even on day-to-day things, like you'll see people complaining about the price of eggs, your groceries, or housing, and which is completely understandable. But when you go to get groceries, you're never thinking about the price. You're just immediately thinking about getting the most organic, like fresh, best groceries you can get.
I'm not allowed to say anything, so if I say something, they'll call me a hater. Actually, I am a hater, so f it. What are you talking about? This is what I'm talking about. It's not just that reality has gone somewhat worse. It's that there's so many assholes out there whose entire business model is making you feel worse about it. And even if they're not grifters, even if they're just 19-year-olds who happen to have made millions, it's still just not good to think like this. That doesn't mean that you have to be a millionaire by age 19 or your life is over. I keep going back to that hilarious graph of what each generation considers a financially successful salary. And for every other generation, it's like between $100,000 and $200,000. And then for Gen Z, it's almost $600K. Gen Z is the all or nothing generation, straight up. We've convinced ourselves we're either gonna be dirt poor, shit rich, and there's nothing in between. Or if there is something in between, it's a fate worse than death. Who wants to be in the middle? And so not only do you need to get shit rich, you need to do it by like age 23, or it's over for you, bro.
And I think it presents Gen Z with a really unique struggle of seeing people your same age being almost in a completely different life stage than you. What I mean by that is I genuinely don't think that there's been another generation that's had this big of a range of incomes among people who are part of the same age group. And I feel like it really divides our generation by, the people who are on that path and making all this money and the people who are just watching them.
Like, yo, getting rich is pretty hard as is. Getting rich before your frontal lobe is fully developed is impossible, pretty much. Why are you comparing yourself to JoJo Siwa, okay? No, you don't have JoJo money, but you also don't have JoJo's off-putting personality and horrible vibes.
Dream guest on my podcast? Oh my gosh. I mean...
And I know this is all basic stuff. I know. You all know. Comparison is the thief of joy, blah, 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 blah. But that doesn't mean it's not worth repeating, because if you're a 23-year-old comparing yourself to some 18-year-old broccoli cut millionaire on TikTok, or comparing yourself to where your parents were at your age, both are unfair. And the most unfair comparison of all is comparing yourself to where you thought you would be.
You think your 20s are bad and you're like, yeah, this is like bad. And then it gets to your late 20s and then like you're about to turn 27 and then your whole life like actually crumbles to shit hog pieces. And then you kind of just have to be like, okay.
Jesus, man. I mean, okay, look. I don't have an immediate response to that.
Yeah, I don't have advice and I don't want it either. So don't come in these comments saying, like, I appreciate it, but
Oh, and I wasn't going to give advice either. I don't know what I'm doing either. But listen, I'm sure it gets better when you, like, hit your 30s.
I just want to know, are there any people out there in their 30s who feel like they're just lost and confused in their life right now? People used to tell me, just wait till you get to your 30s. It gets so much easier.
Okay, it doesn't get better when you hit your 30s.
Men will turn 30 and still be like, I don't know what I want. Bro, we have 5 more years with hair. Please figure it out.
Ridiculous. My hairline is rock solid, I'll have you know, and I'll be stirring minoxidil into my morning oatmeal before I let this go. It is my one redeeming feature. Thank you very much. But look, all that's to say is that everybody's going through life for the first time too. That's another thing that I think is so weird about this age discourse. It's not like you reach a certain age and then you get a power up like it's a video game and now everything works out and now you're smart, successful, and confident. Nobody knows what the they're doing. And if you're a 29-year-old out there who's like, actually, bro, I've got my life pretty set up well. I know I got everything going well for me. Do us all a favor and off. We love you and we appreciate you. But this is not the time, because everyone is figuring out life at their own pace, okay? Some people have it together at 22, and then they crash out at 32 and need to start over. Some people are just kind of wandering around until they hit 40, and then, you know, they try and get things together. Who cares? Again, this isn't a race. We're all headed to the same destination. The grave, specifically. And I also think compressed cultural cycles have something to do with this, because, you know, it's easier to feel like you're aging more acutely when things are just changing at a rapid pace. Like, I don't know if anyone else has been tracking this 6-7 trend from the last couple of weeks, but this is the first time in my life where I'm actually like, dude, I have no idea what this is, and I'm a pretty terminally online person. I mean, in the end, I needed a school teacher to break it down for me.
6-7, what does it mean and why are kids saying it? 6-7. Now, this number was then popularized by different creators, primarily creating basketball sports edits and using that song over the edit.
That's literally it. 6-7.
Oh, lemonade.
Yeah.
Well, how much for a glass, kids?
6-7.
Excuse me?
6-7. 6-7. 6-7. 6-7. 6-7. 6-7. 6-7. 6-7. 6-7. 6-7.
What are you guys saying to me?
You're chapped, Unc.
I'm just saying, it's easy to feel old or washed when if you put down your phone for a week, you've missed 17 trends. All right, but that doesn't mean you're out of touch. That means the algorithm is still the worst invention of all time. You are neither too young or too old for anything, really. I mean, most successful authors were 42, I think, when they have their first bestseller. The average age of a first-time home buyer in the US is like 38 now. And again, that's the average, which means presumably many people are above that age. And look, maybe your goals are loftier, okay? Maybe you are one of those aspiring broccoli cut millionaires. I got news for you. The average age of a billionaire in the United States is 67, which at that point, you're just stacking money and yachts to look at in between prostate exams, all right, which is no fun at all. Every day is a blessing, guys. That's all I'm trying to say, okay? Nobody knows how much time we have left on Earth. Should you take life seriously? Yes. And make plans? Of course. But that doesn't mean they have to be written in blood. You may get to where you want to be and then realize that that's not what you wanted to do at all. Or maybe, you know, you start something and realize, yeah, that's not who I am actually, and I'm going to go in another direction. Maybe you started med school, but God's plan for you is to be a SoundCloud rapper. I think you may be slightly misreading God's intentions for you, But who am I to say? I swear to God, this whole thing is a psyop. I saw a comment that I can't find again that was basically like, Gen Z's fear of aging was what millennials' fear of getting fat was. Is age culture the diet culture of 2025? I think you can make arguments. And that's why it's good to see on the other side people talking about how fake age is in general, or just how things have started to shake out for them for better with time. 27 to 29 had me feeling like my life was over, and 30 has me feeling like a newborn infant baby full of whimsy and wonder, and I think that's common for a lot of people. Yeah, maybe the pressure to have everything figured out by 30 is one big marketing scam. Maybe the real growth happens when you stop counting birthdays and just start living life. I'm a lot less obsessed with age today than I was when I was like 20 or 21. You know, I just turned 25 in June, which as we've seen according to TikTok is geriatric, but like I just feel a lot less pressure in life than I did then, you know? And I think part of that is realizing that everyone's going through life at their own pace, but also that milestones in general can be cringe and dumb, or at least being a slave to milestones is cringe and dumb. So if you're pushing 30, then keep on pushing. And I will leave you with this. I asked my own brother, who also turned 30 this year, if he had any wisdom for the brain rot youth on this topic. And here's what he told me in his own words. Brother Dan, everybody. I hesitate to say that age is just a number, because that's usually something creepy dudes and pedophiles say. But it's true. Numerical age is not necessarily correlated with intellectual growth or maturity, contrary to popular belief. Just because you're a certain age does not mean you have to adhere to society's expectations of what a person that age should be doing. Anyone who's older will tell you they look in the mirror and go, who the f*** is that old f***? You should probably change as you grow in age, but you don't have to. You don't have to give up things that you like just because you're older. In fact, it's quite the opposite. A lot of therapy is just learning to parent your inner child. It's saying to yourself in the present moment, if I asked a parent for advice, what would I need to hear from them? If you obsess about arbitrary milestones like purchasing a car or having a certain job or a certain degree or a certain salary by a certain age, you're almost guaranteed to make yourself miserable. People feel like they have to be married or engaged or whatever by a certain age, and it's dumb. People are living longer than ever. You don't have to rush to decide on a career that you're going to be working for the next 40 to 50 years. And if people give you shit for liking Legos at 50, f*** them. Guys in their 40s, 50s, 60s see my motorcycle and they're like, oh, nice bike, dude. I used to have one back in the day, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, you have to be pragmatic if you have 3 kids. You shouldn't be stunting on a bike, but that doesn't change what you like. People try to conform to other people's expectations of who they should be, and they lose their sense of self. That's how you end up miserable at 35 or 40. Or honestly, even more sadly, they never really knew what they liked or wanted in the first place. I know none of that will probably resonate with your audience, but I think about shit like that sometimes because you hear and read stuff like that sometimes, but it's hard to internalize. And then you get to the other side of it and you're like, oh yeah, that was right. Like, you should have long-term goals and everything in a 5-year plan and a 10-year plan. But that doesn't mean you lose your sense of self. You should do things every day that make you happy, even if they're small or not super financially responsible or objectively a waste of time or whatever. The end. To which I responded,